Some of you may already know me from the previous sessions. My name is Dean and I am the domain lead and solution architect for ERP testing solutions at 𝗕𝗏𝗏. So welcome to our Brownbag session on sustainable test automation for SAP. Today we'll be diving deep into SAP testing complexity, cloud ERP release frequency, and exploring benefits of test automation for SAP, specifically S/4HANA Public Cloud. We'll also be discussing the common pitfalls of SAP test automation while introducing Katalon Studio for SAP, a powerful ecosystem for automated testing. At the end of the presentation, we will summarize best practices and have a Q&A sessions to address any questions that you may have. Now let's get this party started. In case you missed our previous Brownbag session, let me provide you with a small recap of what ERP testing is at 𝗕𝗏𝗏. ERP testing is an automation-driven quality framework introduced by 𝗕𝗏𝗏, specific to a number of top-tier ERP solutions. This way of working focuses on integrating and deploying any ERP solution first time right. The result is obtained by automating at least 50% of the testing efforts, which results into faster testing cycles and less time to release a new ERP to production in case of migration, update, or upgrade. Adding this framework to your existing ERP implementation methodology will not only increase the return over invest of a new ERP solution, but it also has the potential to drastically reduce your hypercare costs with up to 90% in fact, as we avoid production blowouts and other potential business blocking issues, as we choose to aim for defect prevention rather than defect identification. In case you are interested in watching the previous session and obtain more details about this concept, we've uploaded it to YouTube and will include a link in the session chat and the comment section down below. So let's talk about cloud ERP today. As software testing continues to evolve, the shift from traditional ERP systems to cloud ERP has introduced some significant challenges. One of the most notable differences is the move from core custom development to extensions development and third-party integrations. This shift has brought about some unique challenges for software testing, such as the need to test more complex and interconnected systems. Cloud ERP also offers greater scalability and flexibility, which can benefit software testing by enabling more comprehensive and thorough testing. However, it can also introduce new challenges, such as ensuring that test data is managed and secured properly in a cloud environment. Ultimately, the shift to cloud ERP requires a different approach to software testing, one that takes into account complexities of this new environment. Testing teams must adapt to new technologies and methodologies. This is required to ensure that these systems are thoroughly and efficiently tested. Speaking about testing complexity and frequency has increased as well. The adoption of cloud ERP has revolutionized the way companies manage their business processes. One of the most significant changes is the frequent releasing and updates and patches, which can occur as often as every few weeks. While this is the result in faster delivery of new features and bug fixes, it also presents a challenge for software testing teams. Frequent releases require a rigorous regression testing process to ensure that any changes or updates do not adversely affect the ERP system's overall functionality when it comes to third-party integrations. Without proper testing, there is a risk of introducing new bugs or disrupting existing functionality. Frequent ERP releases require a robust testing approach that includes a combination of both automated, manual, and exploratory testing. By adopting this approach, software testing teams can ensure that ERP systems' overall functionality still works and minimize the risk of defects and other issues that could adversely affect the business processes. Frequent regression testing sort of begs the question for sustainable test automation. Where test automation used to be seen as an additional project cost, it is now clear that the average return on invest of test automation for SAP for HANA can vary depending on factors such as the size of the organization, the complexity of the SAP implementation, will it be just a core implementation or will we have third-party integrations, and of course the scope of the automated efforts, as we do not want to automate everything, or do we? Because studies have shown that test automation can lead to significant cost savings and efficiency gains. For example, a study by Forrester Consulting found that large financial services companies were able to achieve 330% return on investment from their automation efforts in SAP. Overall, test automation can provide significant benefits for SAP testing, including cost savings, efficiency gains, and improved accuracy and repeatability of the tests. Organizations that invest in test automation can achieve a higher quality SAP implementation while reducing the overall cost and effort required for testing in general. So in SAP, regression testing and end-to-end testing are typically the highest priorities to ensure that the entire business process, applications, and third-party integrations are working together as previously intended. By automating these tests, organizations can significantly reduce the time and effort required for testing, while also improving the accuracy and again the repeatability of tests. So, a high return on invest, but is it worth it? As there are still some common pitfalls of SAP test automation. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. Doing SAP test automation successfully would require your organization to get over the following 4 obstacles: incomplete test coverage, high maintenance overhead, poor test data management, and third-party integration challenges. So let's start with the first. Incomplete test coverage. Often only a subset of test cases is automated, leaving critical scenarios untested. This can lead to defects being missed and ultimately impact the quality of the system. Then we go to the high maintenance overhead. Test skips require ongoing maintenance. Automation is not always the silver bullet. This can become time-consuming and costly when done wrong, especially when changes to the SAP system are frequent, which they are now in SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud. And it doesn't get easier, because test data management can be a significant challenge in SAP testing as well, particularly when it comes to data privacy and security. Data scrambling and masking can add additional complexity, and getting access to suitable test data can be difficult and time-consuming. However, there's still the integration challenges with third-party applications as well. SAP systems are typically highly integrated, and changes to one model can impact lots of others. This can lead to integration challenges in SAP test automation, and scripts may need to be updated to reflect the changes in the other areas of the system. Katalon Studio helps us to solve all those challenges. At least in our case it does, because the way we have set it up. But what is Katalon Studio to begin with? Well, Katalon Studio is a comprehensive automation tool for API, web, desktop, and mobile testing that offers a wide range of features to support the testing of complex enterprise applications such as SAP for HANA, for example. Some of the common pitfalls and issues with SAP test automation include technical challenges, high maintenance costs, test data management, and script maintenance. Katalon Studio offers solutions to address each of these challenges. First off, its low coding automation capabilities, reusable test objects, integrated test data management, and easy maintenance make it a popular choice for SAP test automation. Katalon Studio enabled us to efficiently automate the testing process of our SAP customers, minimize manual intervention, and reduce the overall cost of testing while still improving the quality and accuracy of both the tests and the SAP system under test. So for us, it was a no-brainer to position Katalon as a cornerstone in our SAP-specific test solution architecture. So what you see here is Katalon Studio integrated in our test solution architecture, revolving around automated self-healing tests for SAP. What we also have here is data virtualization and third-party integration testing due to its features and capabilities. Firstly, Katalon provides a self-healing mechanism that can detect and recover from failures during test execution. This ensures that tests continue to run despite of unforeseen changes, reducing the need for manual intervention and enabling faster feedback loops. Secondly, Katalon enabled us at 𝗕𝗏test to build in data virtualization and subsetting capabilities that enables users to generate and use synthetic data for testing purposes. This reduces the dependency on production data and improves the quality and accuracy of test data, whilst also reducing the risk of data breaches. And of course, the third part, finally, by using custom keywords in Katalon, it allows us for the simulation of third-party applications and integrations. enabling users to test their systems in a realistic environment that mirrors the production environment. So by incorporating these features in our test automation architecture, Katalon helped us achieve faster and more reliable testing, specifically within the context of SAP, which despite its move to cloud ERP, still remains a large and complex system to test. In case you want a more in-depth explainer about our ERP testing architecture in general, I would personally recommend that you watch our previous Brownbag session about ERP testing as a pipeline. Please find the link in the session chat or in the section below of this video. As my grandmother used to say, proof is always in the pudding. So let's go. Let's take a look at a practical example. Suppose you're testing an end-to-end business process in SAP that involves a third-party application Fulcrum MRP, which is used for material requirement planning in this case. The scenario involves creating a sales order in SAP 𝗕𝗏, which then triggers a material requirement in Fulcrum and then updating the material availability in 𝗕𝗏 based on the Fulcrum MRP material requirement. So to automate this scenario in Katalon Studio, you could start by having a business key user record the initial test scenario using the Katalon Studio recorder. This will involve creating a sales order in SAP, which triggers the material requirement in Fulcrum, and then updating the material availability in 𝗕𝗏 based on the Fulcrum MRP material requirement. Now, all technicalities aside, a technical tester could then take this recording to enhance it by adding custom keywords and data-driven testing, which are both good features of Katalon Studio. For example, you can create a custom keyword to handle the integration with Fulcrum MRP, which could include using both the SAP and Fulcrum APIs to create the material requirement and retrieve the updated material availability in SAP from the user's perspective. So, as the initial recording will only include hard-coded data and is dependent on what is present in both systems, we will also parameterize the test data so that the test can be run with different input values and create data-driven tests to run the scenario with different combinations of input data to cover different business flows end-to-end. By using Katalon Studio in this case for this testing scenario, you can ensure that the integration between SAP 𝗕𝗏 and Fulcrum MRP is properly tested, and that any issues with the integration are caught early in the development cycle, as you can also integrate these tests in your CI/CD pipeline. This can help you deliver high-quality applications that meet the business needs while reducing the time and cost associated with manual testing, of course. So, let me demo the recording part first. As a user, it is very easy to record the scenarios on SAP S/4HANA using Katalon Studio. You simply open the recorder, enter your target application URL, and off you go. There are basically 5 key advantages to pre-recording tests in Katalon. First of all, there's the time savings. Recording reduces the need for manual scripting, saving time and effort. Then there's the ease of use. The user-friendly interface in Katalon Studio makes it easy even for non-technical users to record test cases. Next to that, there's also the scalability that you can take into account. Recorded tests can be easily modified and scaled wherever and whenever needed. Improved accuracy is associated with that as well, as recordings ensure that all necessary steps are included and reduces the likelihood of errors. So, bottom line, recording these scripts, as you see here on your screen now, in multiple SAP projects enabled us at 𝗕𝗏𝗏 to reuse them in other SAP projects. Most certainly for SAP Public Cloud, this can save us time and effort in setting up SAP test automation for a new customer, as we as testers can focus on the custom stuff now and just parameterize the standard scenarios with the customer's industry data. Please note that we never functionally use unadapted recordings, okay? Instead, we go for splitting up Katalon tests into components, actions, and flows for SAP because it has several advantages over simply playing back unadapted recordings. Components reflect reusable objects across the automation project. For example, user authentication or login, as this would be a minimal requirement for every test on every level, both API and front-end, so to say. Actions represent smaller features in SAP that are often part of one or more overarching business processes. Take the creation of a sales order as an example. This action is part of the order to catch business process, but it's also part of the order to make process. Hence we make it reusable in Katalon to be part of a flow, which brings us to flows. Flows are basically a mirrored image of the customer's business processes in SAP and are made up with actions and components. So let's reverse engineer this flow for planned individual requirements. This flow increases or decreases material availability based on future demand and uses three components: entering SAP, authenticating a user, navigating to the corresponding SAP model, and then followed by the action of maintaining planned individual requirements. All actions, components, variables, and flows can easily be reused in both the manual editor and script mode. By breaking up a recording into smaller reusable components and actions, the test scripts can be easily modified and customized to fit specific requirements of any new SAP project. This saves us time and effort in the long run, as it eliminates the need to start from scratch for each new project or custom integration on an existing project. This type of setup enables better maintenance and management of test scripts. It becomes easier to manage and execute the test as part of a larger testing strategy. Ultimately, it will enhance the collaboration, particularly between business key users and technical testers. This helps to ensure that test scripts accurately reflect the business requirements and can be easily understood by all team members involved in the testing process. You have manual mode as a bridge, where the description of the tests on the right can still be managed in a human-readable language for everybody to understand and collaborate on. So let's take a look at our example again. We used a successful recording and refactored the components into actions and flows. However, we still do not have the connection with Fulcrum ERP, do we? Even if we did, the success of this type of test would still be depending on the material to be present and mapped in both SAP and Fulcrum. In ERP testing, having production-worthy test data at the right time is always the obstacle for stable and successful test automation. However, it's nothing we can solve. Here's the deal. Custom keywords and third-party integrations help us do that. Keep in mind that Katalon Studio is not just an automation tool. Katalon Studio acts as a comprehensive integrated development environment, or IDE, that is specifically designed for more complex test automation. It comes with a rich set of built-in libraries and plugins, which allows users to easily extend and customize their own test scripts. This makes it possible to create powerful and flexible automated tests that can be integrated with other tools and technologies. Custom keywords, for example, are a powerful feature that we use in Katalon Studio. It allows us to extend the functionality of the platform beyond its default capabilities. They can be used to perform tasks such as data manipulation, extensive API testing, and even interact with previously out of testing scope third-party applications like HubSpot, Salesforce, Fulcrum MRP, various warehouse management systems, and a bunch of other integrations. Whatever integration there is, if it has an API, it's connectable with Katalon Studio by using custom keywords. So if a user wants to test a custom API that isn't supported by Katalon out of the box, they can create a custom keyword to automate testing of this API. Similarly, if a user wants to automate a specific business process overarching multiple separate applications, they can create a custom keyword just to perform this task and make that end-to-end test a success. This is a very important feature that we at 𝗕𝗏test leverage to make Katalon succeed as a scalable automation solution for SAP S/4HANA public cloud, as opposed to other more expensive and usable technology stacks. Let's take a look how we managed to orchestrate dependencies in between SAP and Fulcrum. So let's go back to the practicals. Here we'll show you around our materials package. It contains a Katalon custom keyword that we created that generates realistic test data for SAP applications by connecting to data provisioning services like OpenAI and 𝗕𝗏𝗀 for synthesized data, or 𝗕𝘏𝘐𝘚 and 𝗕𝗏𝘐 via API for production synthesized data, which is extremely realistic as it uses our active production data as a starting point. If you want to know more about synthesized data, data virtualization and smart provisioning, I suggest you follow our socials to subscribe for the upcoming Brownbag session about that topic. So now let's dive back into the practicals. The getMaterial test data keywords sends a GET request to these services to retrieve a set of intelligently generated material properties for SAP, such as ID, name, type, description, you name it. It then selects the material from the API response and returns an object containing its properties. This keyword is useful for integrating test data that closely resembles real data, allowing for more accurate and stable testing scenarios as you are in control of the data and not the other way around. Now, the setMaterial test data keywords takes a material object that was generated before and assigns its properties to global Katalon variables, making it available in all other test cases or custom keywords for that matter. This allows for a more modular approach to test data generation, as well as the ability to reuse test data across multiple test cases and third-party test environments. So the next keyword creates a new item in 𝗕𝗏𝗴 using the material data generated by the getMaterial test data keyword as input. It sends a post request to 𝗕𝗏𝗴 including the material data as payload. If the request is successful, it logs the item number returned by the API as well as the material data used. This keyword is useful for testing integrations between SAP and 𝗕𝗏group systems, for example. So this kind of proves that custom keywords are a powerful feature in Katalon Studio, as they allow testers to create reusable and modular code snippets that can be easily integrated into test cases or shared across projects. This is specifically useful for testing in complex environments such as SAP systems that require third-party integrations and realistic test data. With custom keywords, we as testers can save time and effort by automating repetitive tasks and creating more accurate scenarios. So as mentioned before, those custom keywords are made available in manual mode as well. So this basically means that a technical tester can create the custom keywords and then somebody of the business or a less technical tester can just reuse them in its IDE. Allow me to show you how easy it is for a business tester to add and reuse a custom keyword made by a technical tester. You simply go to an existing test case, click Add, select the custom keyword that you need, and then select the keyword from the list. It's basically that simple. So a technical tester can create it, and a business person can reuse it, or another manual tester can reuse it to make his or her scenario in Katalon Studio. To build and run this test, Katalon Studio will now use our custom keywords to synthesize the test data and make sure that it is present in both systems. This before initiating the components, actions and flows that were reused to create this end-to-end test case between for HANA and any third-party application in that matter. This also means that, for example, if you are using HubSpot as a marketing and sales tool, that you can test a sales order or one deal creation in HubSpot to properly find its way into SAP and, for example, schedule MRP runs or other processes related to that order. End-to-end testing simply becomes easier because we are no longer relying on the data to be already present in the system. And if we would choose to connect with 𝗕𝗏𝘐, for example, we wouldn't need any physical database at all, lowering our data footprint by quite a lot, including the cloud storage cost accompanied with storing data. So as you can see, the scenario has run and has succeeded. Now let's take a look at our example again. So now we basically have our recording, which has been refactored with the custom keywords to connect to Fulcrum, synthesize and sync the test data before the test starts running. This leads to good preconditions for the test to rightfully pass or fail. So we could say that this is a testing success. Now, what about reporting? Because we ran the test in Katalon Studio, we saw some results in Katalon Studio. So what do we do about reporting? And remember, we're talking about SAP. So while Katalon does have TestOps, a powerful test management and reporting platform with many interesting features, it may not be tightly coupled enough for our customers that have specific SAP implementation methodologies or tools in their landscape. Therefore, by using custom keywords, we can also send test results to SAP ALM that is already being used by the organization at that point in time. So additionally, SAP ALM may provide features that are not available in Katalon desktops, such as specific reporting or analytics capabilities with regards to integrations or very specific SAP models. Yeah. So the SAP ALM keyword that we at 𝗕𝗏test created allows you to easily integrate Katalon Studio test results with SAP Cloud ALM. This integration enables you to view test execution statuses, results, and logs directly from SAP Cloud ALM, so meaning going from Katalon Studio to SAP Cloud ALM. This gives you a centralized locations for all your testing related activities, and it does not even have to leave your SAP cloud for that matter. This can help streamline your testing process, reduce the risk of errors, and improve collaboration between testers and developers. So let us get back to the common pitfalls of SAP test automation, or specifically some best practices for avoiding the common pitfalls of SAP test automation. As mentioned before, SAP test automation can be challenging due to several reasons, but it's nothing that cannot be solved. Here are some best practices to avoid the following challenges. The first challenge is incomplete test coverage. This can be addressed by using recorders to capture all business processes. Collaborate with the business, record your test scenarios, and then parameterize the recordings with dynamic data to expand scope and reuse recordings frequently. To avoid high maintenance overhead, we at 𝗕𝗏test focus on organizing tests in what we call the 𝗕𝗏 architecture, referring to components, actions, and flows, of course. This helps in maintaining the tests by grouping them based on the functionality. Also for UI tests, when Katalon is activating the self-healing testing, we can detect and correct errors in scripts automatically. That, in combination with modular architecture via keywords, can be implemented to improve the test script's readability, maintainability, and reusability. Yeah. So, which basically leaves us to poor test data management, which is another challenge that is commonly faced. This can be addressed by using controllable data resources such as synthetic or virtualized data that can be embedded into the test scenarios to provide consistent and reliable test data. This will break your test scenarios less and will also cause you to have less maintenance on that very same test scenarios. Now, finally, we still have the third-party integration challenges. Well, not anymore today. They can arise when integrating SAP with other systems. However, custom keywords for integrations can be created to handle this seamlessly, as you saw in the example. Overall, the business benefits of using Katalon Studio for SAP test automation include a faster time to market, improved quality of applications, reduced testing costs, increased testing efficiency, improved collaboration, and easier management of complex testing scenarios. Do note that next to the test automation and business process templates that we showed you for SAP S/4HANA, we also have them available for a variety of other ERP systems like Dynamics 365, Odoo, Salesforce, and others. So we can bring several benefits to your organizations when implementing and testing any new ERP solution. These templates provide a standardized and consistent approach to testing business processes and save your testers loads of time on creating test cases from scratch. So this basically frees up resources to do other important tasks rather than just manually testing and doing the rest of the monkey jobs. In case you want to know more about our ERP testing solutions, feel free to visit our website. That's 𝗕𝗏test.be or just contact me directly. Should this session spark your interest to work with us on an ERP project, feel free to contact either me directly or via our sales team via sales@𝗕𝗏test.be. However, for now, if there are any questions in the audience, I would be very happy to answer them. Thank you.
So maybe I already have a question for you, Dean. So why would you use Katalon Studio instead of the the more common used, maybe 𝗕𝗏𝘄 tricentis?
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it. Tosca is not world's best tool to automate SAP. In fact, it's a great tool for that, and they also have the official kind of SAP partnership. But Tosca has more over a model-based approach rather than end-to-end. So if that suits your organization, you can most certainly go for it. Of course, if you have the budget for it. We notice that for our customers that often the price of a solution like Tosca is too steep. And when you're handling a lot of third-party integrations, the cost of doing the custom development in Tosca for that is also pretty steep. Not that it doesn't work, it works great, but it's kind of, yeah, it depends on what model you want to follow and what budget you like to spend on it.
Yeah, okay. Thanks. There's a question from Rule, I think. Can you explain a bit more how the self-healing works, or is that a topic for the next session?
It's not necessarily a topic for the next session, but I will include some more about self-healing in the next session either way. But what I can do is make sure that in the follow-up mail of this session that you get a link to a demo session of the self-healing part, because Katalon has an in-depth video explainer about how that works. But in short, when you automate tests on the UI, it basically recognizes and stores every object that is surrounding the object that you need to interact with. So if there are any changes to the structural components and objects around that object or by the object itself, Katalon Studio is still able to recognize the object and interact with it based on the historical and future parameters. It's really nice how it works. It basically gives you a notification in Katalon Studio that there is an object that maybe needs self-healing. All you have to do is to confirm it or to deny it. And once you confirm it, Katalon Studio will refactor that object basically everywhere for you. But we'll leave a link here to the detailed video about it.
Yes.